Hi, I'm Elliot Vure and I'm the Director of Corporate Sales at Together. We're a specialist lender based in Manchester and we've turned 50 years old this year, so we've got a nice celebratory year ahead of us. I think over the past 12 to 18 months there's been a huge amount of uncertainty in the commercial property market. We've recently commissioned a report and it's actually showing us that there's some real positive signs coming out for certainly the near future, but also over the next 5 years. A lot of clients that we work with, they've really started to see that there's opportunities in the market, that both the vendors and the purchasers themselves are really trying to work on getting deals done. In 2023, there was, across the whole UK commercial market, there was about £90 billion in commercial secured lending. We actually forecast that over the next 5 years, that's looking likely that it might grow to over £120 billion by 2028. So we see real opportunity, real growth, and it's something that we're hoping we'll continue to see. There's some real opportunities that we're seeing across different regions, different sections, different sectors of the market. I think one of the key opportunities that we're really seeing is the opportunity to develop brownfield sites and brownfield land. Again, within our research, we identified that in Yorkshire, there's the potential for up to £53 billion worth of development opportunity across brownfield land. So for developers and investors who are looking to really get involved in redeveloping and regenerating brownfield sites, I think that's a real opportunity. We've also seen that landlords and investors, they're also starting to potentially diversify. Those people who were involved heavily in commercial real estate and office buildings, they've started to actually diversify and go into student accommodation, into social housing. I think the need to spend money on retrofitting office buildings, getting them up to standard, making them efficient and EPC compliant, it's really meant that they've had to diversify and look at other opportunities. So whilst the pure office commercial market might be a bit slower, there are definitely opportunities in other sectors and in other asset types. So I think we're all aware that there's a real housing crisis in the UK. There's just not enough housing being provided. Year on year, the government are falling short of their targets. So the opportunity to develop brownfield sites into residential property and residential accommodation, there's a huge opportunity there. We've obviously seen that recently that the government have relaxed their requirements and the process to get permitted development approved. So I think there's a real opportunity there for developers, entrepreneurs to acquire vacant, empty office buildings, convert them into much needed residential accommodation, and provide some really quality housing to those people who really need it. I think the year ahead is going to be really interesting. Obviously it's an election year, and we're hoping that housing and that property is really on whichever government, whether it's blue or red. We really hope that that's put to the forefront, and there's a lot of focus that's put on solving the housing crisis. I think one of the biggest issues that we've seen is the planning system. I think the planning system is seeing a huge amount of stress. You see planning officers and you speak to people in planning departments, they're really feeling the pressure of all these developers and people trying to regenerate areas, to try and get planning permission approved. But local councils, local authorities are really feeling that pressure. So I think there needs to be something done to really unlock that planning system, put a focus on making sure that our councils are supported and they're given the time to make sensible decisions. But that's one of the biggest issues that we are seeing at the moment is the delay that's been brought on by a really at stress planning department. It's really important that certainly there's a huge amount of trust that's put in the lender, in the person that's providing the finance. We actually turned 50 this year, as I mentioned before, and for an investor or a developer to work with a funder who's been around for a significant amount of time, I think that's really important, that they can trust the person that they're working with. Something else as well, I think it's working with a lender who has a really broad product range. be that whether they can assist with bridging finance to allow a developer or an investor to actually purchase something quickly, or be that put it on a long-term commercial mortgage to be able to really work the property and the investment and make sure that they've got the confidence that funding is in place. It's really important as well, I think, that we need to be as flexible as possible. Flexibility is key, not being too bogged down by bureaucracy or by complex transactions or complex leases that might be in place. A lender such as Together, we take a really flexible approach and try and find solutions and a way to actually provide the funding, rather than just taking a step back and saying it's not one for us. And finally, I think that speed, efficiency, they're all really important. We appreciate that there are some fantastic opportunities out there. It is becoming a more competitive market, and working with a funder who can turn things around incredibly quickly with as easy a process as possible. I guess that's going to be really important to allow people to really have or make a success at commercial property investment in the near future.